Morning. If you go to, if you're going to Riptide, as is usually the case, you might find some of these IPL pins floating around. I think I got mine from Vincent, but I wouldn't be surprised if like JPEG or Kraken probably has like a ton of these things. I have two IPL pins, and for the love of the Kraken, the great Zapfish, these things run out of ink like nothing else. I like to hold this right here so that it, like everyone, oh look, Popgun's so cool, he's got a pin. But I never actually write with this thing because it doesn't work. So I use this other pin to actually write stuff down. I do write stuff down as I'm going through these things. I just wish these IPL pins would actually work. And I mean, it's a nice pin. It's a solid pin. It's got the little touchscreen bopper on it, but still. Maybe it works. I don't know. It's a good pin. Good pin. Good morning. Then again, if I actually wrote my notes before I went live, I wouldn't have to be stuck here doing last minute things now, would I? Who's doing the three? Are there any Splatoon folks doing the 3v3 volleyball? They got 16 teams. I don't recognize any of these names as Splatoon folks. I don't think so. Next year, will two of you we'll have tryouts. This isn't just going to be an open invite thing. I want you if you're good. But I want two teammates because we could, I mean, are we really going to lose 3v3 volleyball to somebody named PGH Carroll, Jubbly, and Squib? We could beat those. I could probably take two idiots in chat and beat them right now. You just got to sign up so early. I really want to do it. I don't even know where the volleyball court is. There's a team called Three-Peat. Does that mean they've won in the past? The Chuckster? These are probably the most scrub volleyball players ever. Come on. Splatoon. If you gave me 9 and Osty, I think we just like 25-0 everybody. Or 21-0 everybody, whatever score they play to. I think that's just an automatic dub. I don't think we even need to show up. I think they just mail us the trophy at registration. But I wanted to sign up, and I looked at it as soon as they announced it. And then as soon as I looked at it, they were like, registration's closed for volleyball. I was like, come on. Bruh. Are there swings in volleyball? Sure. Sure. Soccer? There was Ultimate Frisbee last year, but that was like a pickup for fun thing. There's no such thing as for fun. There's only winning. Winning is the only fun thing about anything. For fun, Ultimate Frisbee. They got 16 teams, but 3 of them are incomplete. 3 of them only have 2 players. So you could have just signed up as a team without even having a team. So I should have just done that. I should have just like signed up and held a spot and then got 2 teammates later. Man. Do you guys honestly think a volleyball team that had me, 9, and Aussie on it would lose to some team that had a player called Buddha Bam? You think we would lose to whoever Buddha Bam is? Come on now. Nino, I didn't even know you could pin messages. I wish there were basketball courts. There's not? There's gotta be. Hold on. There's gotta be like a basketball court somewhere. I don't even know where the sand court is. Google Earth, satellite view. Is that the sand one way? Oh, they got like 4 courts. Oh, no, they got 2 courts. What is that little area? Oh, are those like the houses you can rent? Or like the condos, like the party houses or whatever? 10 people for a gazillion dollars. Ain't no basketball courts, are there? Whatever. Ain't none. Hello. friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you are asking Falco what all to pack for your upcoming Riptide trip, overreacting to the new patch before you even play it as usual, mentally preparing yourself for the fact that your flight is going to get canceled at some point this weekend, whatever it is that you're doing right now. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this, unless I don't. I spent the Labor Day weekend with my parents. I took PJ up to the grandparents' house to hang out for a bit. Got back in today. I will say this. For anybody here who is a father or will eventually be a father, you will suddenly start to realize how few men's restrooms have baby changing stations in them. It is criminal that every baby changing station is exclusive to the women's restroom. So if you are a father traveling alone with your kid, you're going to be changing diapers straight out of the back seat of the car, which is fine. Like, we'll make do, but it's like, man, come on. Some stuff here. Shout outs to the rest areas in Kentucky. They all had, the ones I stopped at did have baby changing stations, which is nice. The ones in Indiana, not so much, but it's Indiana. Who should be surprised about that? Because I was out this past weekend, I did not watch 20XX or the Sindow Q finals that were taking place. Sindow Q finals was on IPL. It was won by Keo, Goss, Zaras, and Biscuit. Congratulations for them. That is the second Sindow Q finals that Keo and Goss, and I believe Biscuit as well, have won this year. I can't remember who their fourth was. Maybe it was Zaras, who was the fourth on that roster a couple of seasons ago. 20XX, I couldn't find the score for 20XX. I thought somebody would just tweet out, here's the week one results. I didn't see that anywhere, so I had to go back and watch through the VOD, which I need to do anyways. But Dat Kid Fan Club won. Metro, Gru, and Hinlow Fan Club all are winners. My prediction was 3 out of 1, or 3 wins and 1 losses. I did not predict Dat Kid Fan Club would win. I thought Celeste was going to beat them. Dat Kid beat them 4-1, so what do I know? Zach is the only commentator who has correctly predicted week 1 of 20XX. I think a handful of us are 3-1. The rest are not so much. But Zach is the only one who is 4-0. So nicely done there. So to gain ground on Zach, I have to pick at least 1, maybe 2 matches that are completely opposite from what he does. Even if I think Zach gets them right, I'm going to have to find like some sort of, maybe this team could pull an upset somewhere, because I want to be the best that ever was. Minor, if you guys don't mind throwing next week, that would help me out a lot. I'll ban you from Low Ink. I don't know. There's very little I can do to help you out with that one. I am not doing a weekly recap because there's too much to talk about today. It is weird that 20XX and a Sindow Q finals just happened, and I'm not going to mention them at all. Those are on the back burner so that we can get this Riptide conversation in, which is one of my favorite things to actually talk about on this show, whatever it is that we do right here. So I'm going to be spending more time on that, not so much on the weekly recap. Sorry, not sorry. We will obviously spend a lot more time talking about 20XX. Not next week because they are taking off next week, but week 2 is going to be the week after Riptide. We'll do a deep dive into that as well. I think I'm commentating week 3. I forgot to look at the schedule for that. News of tournaments may be of interest to the casual listener of the podcast. If you need a warm-up for Riptide, SOS is a good way to do it. SOS is going to be taking place on Wednesday. You can wake up on Thursday and fly in after you claim an SOS championship. There's been 70 to 80 teams signing up every single SOS, so make sure you sign up early so that actually it doesn't benefit you to sign up early because there's no cap for that tournament. Just sign up early so that makes us look good. Like we got a lot of teams signing up, which we do. Minnow Cup is going to be on Saturday. There are still tournaments going on in the weekend. Believe it or not, the world does not come to a crashing halt whenever there is a major LAN going on in North America or Europe. So if you're going to be staying at home, being a little sad baby, missing out on everything, you can play a Minnow Cup on Saturday if you're not banned from it. Today, we are going to be previewing Riptide. We're going to be looking at every single group. There is a crap ton of Splatoon that is going to be played this weekend. We're going to be looking at every single group. I'm going to be telling you who I think is going to be playing in the grand finals and what all that you can expect to do / see in the stream this upcoming weekend, because there's a lot of fun stuff. There's Splatoon. These major events are tournaments, yes, but I call them more Splatoon conventions, social events. There might even be a game show popping up. We'll explore some stuff like that. All that and more. But first, to answer a question in chat, Dungus Master 9000. No, I will not wear a matching shirt if you bring one. I don't know what Dungus Master 5000. I don't know who you are, but if your name is Dungus Master, there's no way you are going to bring a shirt that's going to be that I would wear that would make me feel proud to wear it. So no, if you bring me a matching shirt, I will not wear it. Just being dead ass, as they say. Now, give me a hot moment. Just give me a hot second to get this set up, because this is a live show and we always do a good job of doing this correctly the first time. Studio mode. That screen. That works. Kind of. Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. Oh, hold on. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Did I thought I hit the don't listen, don't talk button, but I guess I was wrong about that. Okay. Well, fair enough. Welcome into the Popcast. Head TO for Low Tide City, member of A2P, an S tier commentator, in my opinion, and somebody who believes in the radical idea that people shouldn't be jackasses to TOs. Siren, how's morale today?
You know what? It's doing pretty good. I'm liking the pools that I'm seeing for Riptide right now. That's giving me a lot of confidence as a player, but just overall, things are doing good. I will like to address something that just happened before I got on the mic, though. You were talking about Dongus Master. I want you to put some respect on his name.
Who is Dongus Master?
That's Aaron. He's the head of Riptide.
That's gonna do it for today's episode of the podcast. Oh, why would you? Okay. That. All right, fine. Yes,
I'm serious.
I will. Hold on. Let me back up. We're taking you off. Yes, Dungus Master. If you bring a matching shirt, I would be more than happy to wear it. Because I didn't know. Welcome back in, Siren. Good to know you're having a good day.
Yeah, thank you. Now that we've gotten that out of the way.
So I wrote down in the groups, but I don't see it on my paper readily. Who do you play? Have you looked at your group yet?
I do. I do know who I'm playing. So we're playing against, I've already forgotten the name of the team, but it's the Greg, Allie, Bronze, Itchy team.
Oh, what, Greg,
yes.
Ellie. Oh, Allie.
Allie, yes, the Tetras, yes.
Roundy's playing on that as well.
He's not. He's benched.
Not?
He put it in the seating form.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I looked. I don't want to click on the website because then it'll like show everybody's full names. So I didn't look at that. But Roundy's like on the first 4 listed, so that's why I didn't see that one fair out there. All right, fair enough. Good luck against them for sure. So you are here not because you are a TO for Riptide. You are actually enjoying the event like a civilian. But you are here representing Splat Lands. And if you were to how would you describe Splatlands to somebody who is just hearing about that Twitter account, Discord server organization for the first time?
Right. So basically, Splatlands is a team of tournament organizers who just bring Splatoon events to other ones. We have also considered doing standalones as well, but primarily it's just okay, you want Splatoon at your event? We'll be the people who can bring that to you as well. So I would kind of almost equate that to like hiring a Santa Claus for your party, because not everyone can be Santa Claus, but you might want one.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, that's fair. You would, you would might want to have Splatoon at an event.
Hmm.
So this past year we saw Genesis bring back Splatoon after they had it for a couple of years, and then after
Hmm.
the pandemic, it went away. It came back this year. We saw MomoCon be added to the list of things as well, a couple of
Hmm.
weeks after LTC. Um, could you kind of explain the process of how these events like this would come to Splatlands and be like, "Hey, we want to bring Splatoon to our event"? Is it that simple? Like they just say we want it there, or what's the process for stuff like that?
Honestly, in some regards, it is just as simple as going, hey, we want Splatoon at our event. And then from there, we might assign a couple people to start getting those discussions ready. So let's just say for MomoCon, we were like, okay, well, we don't really have people who can run this aside from maybe Rays. So we decided to bring on Secant for the team for MomoCon, and that was a great decision. Um, but basically, it's one of those things where I think there's a popular misconception that people who want Splatoon at their events are doing it because they want money. They like see Splatoon as like some sort of cash cow and that they're gonna profit off of having us there. But nothing could be really further from the truth. We don't really rake in a lot of cash for these events. Like Splatoon is a very expensive event to run. So pretty much everyone who's ever asked to have Splatoon at their event has asked because they have a specific emotional attachment to it or they have a passion about the game. In some regard. Like Aaron hasn't played the game. Like Aaron's in your chat right now. He does not know how anything works, but he just really likes our community and he feels strongly about it. So that's what has brought us to things like Riptide and Lowtide. Um, but on the other hand, you don't really see a lot of tournament organizers that don't feel a certain way about Splatoon bringing us to their events, and there is a reason for that.
Is So what is the reason then for why something like Genesis would? Is it just the right person that's in charge of it? It's just like, oh, I just love this game. I would love to see it here. Because like you said, it doesn't add monetary value to your
Mm-hmm.
event.
Um, it's funny you bring up Genesis because that's I think the only outlier event where we specifically sought it out. Like we were thinking, okay, well we had Genesis through Genesis 5, 6, and 7. We would like to bring it back. I think it would be nice to have a event back in California that's kind of major for Splatoon. We don't really have much on the West Coast right now. So we decided to pitch our event back to Genesis and go, hey, look how much the community has grown. We would love to bring Splatoon back to Genesis in some form. Would you be able to do that? And we actually had like a whole PowerPoint presentation that we brought to them. Like that was the only event that's ever happened for us. Every single other event has just been someone being like, okay, I really like Splatoon. That was the case for Shine, Hapless, who still goes to events. He's going to be at Riptide this year as well. He was the founder of Shine, and he was like, I really want to bring back Splatoon to Shine. Well, not back, but Aaron just feels very passionate about us. The big house saw the squid house, so they felt that way, and MomoCon is trying their best to make it into the largest Nintendo based super major, so Splatoon just kind of came as a part of that.
So can you confirm on the record the Squid House directly impacted Splatoon being at that one big house?
I think it definitely did. I am not one of the TOs who worked on the big house
Right.
directly, but I believe that was a large deciding factor was growing that relationship between the big house and Splatoon. Um, so big kudos to them and the people that came before us because Splatlands didn't directly do the Squid House or have really much any involvement in that at all. It was like, unless you count K-bot, like we didn't touch that. So that was kind of just a parting gift, I suppose, from Endgame. But yeah.
Has there been any? Well, I mean, you don't have to leak specific things, but has there been like other big events in the past, or like maybe stuff that's being worked on that doesn't normally have Splatoon, that has either approached you guys or you guys have approached about adding Splatoon to their event?
I don't think we've approached any other events and gotten turned down as far as bringing Splatoon to them at this time. So we haven't pitched anything, but I think that might be something we do in the future with the ending of Low Tide City. I feel like there's going to be a bit of a gap in the events. But we also have started to consider like maybe doing a standalone event. I won't be able to leak too much on that because that's very much in like the starting phases and discussions. So we haven't really developed that further than that would be nice to do.
Well, that let me kind of skip ahead to a question I did have a little bit down the line here. That's kind of along
Mm-hmm.
that lines. All these events that we see, quote unquote, major Splatoon tournaments at, the LTCs, the Riptides, those are all kind of like we're there because Big Brother Smash is allowing us to be there, kind of thing, which is
Yeah.
great. Um, you do see standalones like Splatoon events in New York, Big
Mm-hmm.
Dapple with their Metro Inc. But their events are they have a participant cap. Like there's only so much room for them to grow. Do you? I think you're hinting at this that you don't want to leak, but could you see a future where there are standalone Splatoon events that are the size of a Riptide or an LTC?
I would like that, but I think it's one of those things that kind of depends on the size of the venue. So we've been in discussion about it, but I suppose I would consider a major at a certain point when it's more than just the people from around that area. So like the Metro Inc. people get a lot. They have a lot of people coming into their events, especially for the ones they really hype up, like Gridlock. Uh, so you kind of like look at it from that angle where people still see it as a local, albeit a very large one. I think that the major difference between this is that we would have more of an offering to entice people to travel for this kind of event.
What is it like to run in a low tide city with 20 gazillion stations, a megaphone that can't even reach the back half of the room, and it's the biggest event ever that's just going to be eclipsed like 5 months later by the next biggest event ever? Like, what is it like to do that?
I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't really sure if Riptide was gonna be able to beat our record this year. I knew they definitely had the potential to, and they have the space to accommodate it. I mean, you were at low tide this year, so you saw the, even though we had more space than the previous year, it was still crazy. But definitely getting my steps in, walking back and forth across the line of stations with the megaphone to try and reach one person or one team to try and get them in one spot, and sometimes you just have to give up and message them on Discord. It's rough. Like I I constantly question whether or not like we would have been able to run low tide without three TOs this year because it was intense. We were pretty much all running around the entire time and until basically Top Cut where things start to die down. But even then, Brush was crazy. You know he's crazy. Like he was like taking down stations while Top Cut was happening. And I was as we were ending the day, I was getting ready to deal with what we did at Low Tide 23, where I was like, all right, okay, packing up everything and it's almost midnight and everyone's at the fire pit and I'm upstairs and I'm unscrewing every single monitor because we had to do them with a screwdriver, and we only had one. And we're very carefully doing that for hours and hours. And I was belligerent. I was like crying, kind of, but also laughing. It was nonsense at that point. So when everything was said and done at low tide this year, and I'm like, okay, all right, time to tear down. Like, you guys ready to be here for another 3 hours? And then Brush is like, the only station that's left is the stage. And I almost cried. Like I loved him for that in that moment. Like Thank you. It was perfect. It was an ideal situation. Uh,
Brush is not
yeah.
crazy. He's just young.
No,
He's
he is crazy.
I mean, he'll grow out of it. We all
I'll
had our.
never forget setting up the stage and him insisting that we needed all of the like the wires for the Ethernet adapters to be black on the stage just for solid like just so they matched. Because we had
Oh
like a
yeah.
mixed bag and they were all different colors and he was like, "Nope, this is the stage. They're all going to be black."
You know, when Moonlight pulled off the reverse or the bracket reset, forced a bracket reset against Starburst, the only
Mhm.
thing I could focus on was the colors of the wires on the stage. So that it was really distracting for me. Forget the chicken or whatever else was going on there. What is your favorite personal Splatoon LAN moment? I would assume you would have one.
You just asked me about like sifting through what is it, like 7, 8 years of information? That's a lot. Oh my gosh.
And we just talked about you being to the point of hysteria of breaking down things. So I know like it's a stark shift from
I
negative
think
to positive. But
I think I have one for every event, but that's quite a different conversation. Jeez. Um, wow. Because a lot of them are personal, and then sometimes it's just things that you see and experience and are around. Uh, wow.
how about as a TO?
Ooh,
What
as a
would be your
TO.
yeah?
Okay, yes. A few of my volunteers at Low Tide last year came up to the desk and they had made like little goodie bags, like gift bags for me and Magic. And they had like cards signed by other volunteers in them and like little Lego sets. And they had went to the Kalahari gift shop and just bought anything that kind of resembled Splatoon. Like I have like this plush from Sonic Colors. It's like one of the little enemy guys and he just kind of looks like a squid and they were like throw that in there too. Like they got us like an aquatic themed Lego set. Um, and I nearly cried because it was like one of the sweetest things that I've ever experienced just running events. Like the
Brush
gratitude of people who are literally doing free work for you is like what are you doing? Like
Brush was saying something about Krill Streak made goodie bags for TOs this year at LTC. Is that a thing, or did they only make it for Brush and you never found it?
I got no, I didn't get a goodie bag from Krill Streak unless I'm
Oh,
losing my mind.
oops.
So Brush, what did you get and why aren't you sharing?
I didn't say
Actually,
that
I
then.
didn't share. I got the shuttle gift bag that Chino made. Because Chino ran his own shuttle. I love Chino. Because everything that he wants to see in a LAN, he'll just do himself. Like he was like, "Oh, Low Tide doesn't have any side events. No worries. I'm gonna make table turf in real life, and then I'm gonna literally run it by myself." Uh, like he'll do that. Oh, Low Tide City doesn't have a shuttle. Okay, I'm just gonna rent a giant van and run my own shuttle. Like he literally just does it and I it's crazy. I love that guy. But he made goodie bags for everyone who rode in his shuttle with T-shirts, and like it had a water bottle with like a custom text on it, and like a bunch of custom items, pins, everything, and the books that he made for Table Turf explaining the rules. Like I could grab it now. It's like a properly bound book with illustrations on every single page, on every side. It's so in depth and like I don't know how much money he spent doing this, but like I'm just amazed by his effort. That's like the kind of person that I love to see at events.
I don't know if you saw this or not, but there was like an actual board game table turf set up, like outside that Italian restaurant. You
Hmm.
might have been swamped, but there was I think there was like a side tournament going on of like
That was
in
Chino.
person table. Yeah, I would assume so. That is
Yeah, and he made packs too that you could open with the cards in them, and they were like well-made cards. They weren't just like dinky pieces of paper. They were like the kind you'd open from a Pokemon pack, like the
right.
same quality. Yeah.
That's there's a lot of passionate people at these
Mhm.
events for sure. Um, so there's this past year, and I have no idea what's honestly I don't even know what's after Riptide. I don't know if anything official's been announced. I'm sure things are in the works, but this year you had Genesis West Coast at the beginning of the year,
Mhm.
LTC and MomoCon, the middle of America or Texas and the southern part of the country, both in the middle of the year, and then Riptide, um, with like the East Coast Metro Inc. stuff kind of mixed in, plus all the locals which aren't under Splat Land but are still just LAN events for across all of planet Earth. I think I've heard Magic say this before, something along the lines of you don't want to add too many LAN events just because then it becomes oversaturated or there's not enough coverage of where things are. Is there, as we see more events start to pick up Splatoon, is there such a thing as too much Splatoon at a LAN? Like, is there such a thing as too much Splatoon saturation, I guess?
Yeah, I would say so. With the size of our community right now, I you kind of don't want to spoil people with choice too much. With events like Genesis, they were really focused on having a certain number of attendees come up so that we would, kind of financially break even, and it made sense to continue having us there. And I'm not like saying this as like a fault of the TOs or anything like that. That makes sense. And when you give a lot of options and it kind of splits the people who would be able to do one, because not everyone can do every single event. No one's that loaded unless you're like bronze or chino or something. I don't know. uh, but if someone has to pick between events like MomoCon or Low Tide, which were 2 weeks apart, they're probably going to pick Low Tide. They have that loyalty to that event, so they're probably going to do that instead. And then you look at MomoCon, which had like maybe 10 teams, I think, around that. It was about shine numbers. Then it becomes a bit of a problem where the events go, well, okay, Splatoon's really not that big. They can't really bring in these kinds of numbers. But that's not really the case. It's just people chose X over Y.
Safety has been a hot topic in the community as of late. And obviously, the most important places you would want things to be safe are in-person events like LANs. Could you comment on what Splat LANs, like the role that TOs play in keeping the events safe?
I think that's it's a bit of a loaded question, a bit of a hot topic right now, I suppose. Um, I mean, at the end of the day, it is exactly how it sounds. Like, we're supposed to keep the events safe, and we do that by having almost a prepared awareness for the event. So we try and keep track of who's attempting to go, who is showing the intent to go, and making decisions based on that. Like, if somebody's on the other side of the world and they commit some sort of offense, the odds are we're probably not going to be seeing them at our events. And there's a sense of triage to it as well. Um, so we have to keep in mind, like, what is the most important for keeping people safe in real life, and that's what makes the biggest difference between us making ban decisions compared to like IPL making a ban decision. You might ban someone for alting into low ink for a bit, but as far as we go, like, we're not going to be sitting around deliberating that for a very long time. Like, are they going to be a danger in person? Is this an offense I'm worried about in person? Probably not something I'm going to be thinking about too hard, because it's very, very difficult to alt in real life. Like, you have to be there, you have to show your face. So that's, I guess, the largest difference I would say in it. But we care about a lot different things that don't really matter to online TOs, and online TOs probably wouldn't care about as much with the things that we concern ourselves with.
Yeah, that was my sense, is that obviously you guys deal with a lot more real life stuff like
Mhm.
than what we would deal with. How often have you had like somebody's parent, or you had to like chat with somebody's parent about something? Because like you never do that online.
I guess not really in a safety way. I haven't really had to talk
Right.
about anything with parents in that regard. Most of the young children behave themselves. A lot of the times people like chalk up a lot of like Splatoon safety issues into like, oh, that's just a dumb little kid. Well, the reality is the dumb little kids are probably the best behaved at our events. Like, they haven't learned to disrespect us yet. Like, I don't know what to say about that. Usually the times I talk to a parent, it's like to explain how the events work, what they're going to be anticipating over the course of the weekend, when to show up, how to bring all the other little ones to the event, just little things like that. And policies that they need to fill out as well, like that guardian form that I believe Low Tide and Riptide has for minors.
Um, so I told I told everybody before I brought you on that I hung out with my parents over the course of this weekend. I told
Mhm.
my parents that I was going to talk to a Splatoon LAN TO today, and I said if you had a question you wanted me to ask, what would it be? And my mom wants to know, is it possible to make a career out of being a Splatoon TO?
Well, Popgun's mom. I don't think so. Not at this time. I don't think it's reliable enough. I feel like I did think about this a bit because I was anticipating this, but I think the closest that anyone might be to it would probably be the New York people. I think they have the greatest potential to maybe run a reliable weekly, and that might bring in anything, but I really don't know enough about their finances or anything to decide that. I think if maybe like a TO like myself branched out into other events like Smash, where there's basically an event every other week, maybe you might be able to do that. But it's a lot of time that you spend before the event. Like there's so much planning before there is the actual performing before the weekend. So sometimes when I tell people about the rate that I give to the overall event for my services, they're like, wow, that's a lot to make in a weekend. Well, that's actually also for every single hour I spent leading up to the event, deciding what to do, which is a lot of time.
And you're pretty much working that entire every waking moment of that weekend, from
Mhm.
at least from what I've seen.
It's like
Um,
12 hours a day. Yeah, give or take.
how did you get into being a Splatoon LAN TO? Like how did that opportunity kind of arise?
K-bot eavesdropping for the most part. So what what happened was I felt a lot of nostalgia for events like Squid Storm 2017. I had like a huge emotional connection to that event, and it meant a lot to me. It kind of represented a big change in my life. Because I was going through a lot before I started going to Splatoon events, kind of in the depths. But that event changed a lot for me. And so I was like, I'd really like to bring Splatoon back to Boston in some form. I think it's a good spot for it. And I think it would be cool if we could bring it to an event like Shine. I think that would be really great. And I was just talking about this because this was around the time that Endgame was starting to maybe fizzle out a little bit. It seemed like the TOs at Endgame, no offense at all, were becoming a bit more done with our community and the game. And I was like, well, I'd like to keep the land scene going. I'd like to bring Splatoon to Shine. I want to start exploring the options and maybe talking to the people at Shine. And I just brought this up in a VC that Kbot just happened to be in. Like I don't think I was talking to him, but he ended up messaging me about a few weeks later and said like, "Hey, do you want to become a land TO? Like I have an opportunity." So let's get things working. And that was sort of who brought us all together there. So that was the original group of people. And I think it was around like that time a bunch of us had kind of expressed that same interest for running events. That would have been Rissa, Kraken, Rays, and myself. And then everyone else after that, like Magic, Secant, and oh my gosh, Brush. Those people were brought on later for specific events.
I've This is a question I've been asking myself a lot, um, over the past year, and I mean it's something I always constantly remind myself. What is my why? Like why do I do any of this? I mean, what you do is completely different, and obviously a lot more intensive than what anything online folks do. But I guess, what would you say is your why behind being a Splatoon TO?
Geez. I mean, more recently, I think I've been starting to question that a little bit, but uh, I I wanted to continue something that I was very passionate about. Um, that was like the why that I started, kind of what I explained before, I suppose. But what kept me continuing was just like I suppose, the adrenaline and the feelings of actually operating the event themselves. it's kind of one of those things where there is a philosophy in jobs and management where like monetary incentive isn't really enough to motivate people in any given job. Like they need to have some intrinsic motivation as well that comes from within, and feeling some level of passion for what you do and that you're making a change for the better. And that for me is what I do, because there were things prior to Splatlands coming that I felt like could have been done better and run better. So, it, like, not to be corny, but I just wanted to be that change that I wanted overall.
What are you looking forward to the most this weekend as a civilian, not
Oh,
having to run
geez.
anything?
I think that's the part I am looking forward to, is being a civilian and not working at an event. Because like you kind of get an enjoyment when you're running it as well. Like you're sitting behind the desk and you're seeing other people have fun, but now I get to be those people. I don't have to yell at people. I don't have to lose my voice. I get to enjoy a lot more time with my friends. I'm gonna do 70, what is that thing? It's like the 7D theater they have where they like strap you into the chair at the Kalahari and then they like put on a weird
Oh,
movie and like yeah. I
I
forget what
haven't
that's
seen
called.
that. Now, is that in like the arcade area?
I think so.
I haven't seen that. No, I've seen that in the mall when I was like a kid back in the '90s. That's what it sounds like you're describing. That doesn't.
No.
You want
I
to
think it's like
experience
a
that?
theater with weird chairs. I forget what it's
Oh,
called. What do
yeah.
they
That
call it
sounds
there?
like 4D kind of thing, where
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're
but
on
they
a
call it
roller
7D.
coaster and then it'll like blow
Yes,
air at you and stuff like that. Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, like I'm looking forward to just like the little things, like the water park, uh, mini golf, talking to friends, staying up late. Um, Also, I'm really competitive. I'm like kind of toxic levels of competitive. I was talking about this the other night with a friend where I think how competitive I am is kind of like it's a good thing for me, but it's also kind of a negative. But I'm so competitive that it's kind of like my whole ego and my self-worth relies on it. So I'm really looking forward to winning because I need that boost right now. But
That- fair enough. Are you ready? Have you been scrimming? I
oh
haven't
yeah.
seen A2P around. Although you guys have been in existence since the dawn of time.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed actually, but A2P is not playing as A2P at Riptide.
That's not what the start.gg said an
That
hour
is
ago
what
when I
Start
looked at it.
GG says. There's
What
no
does it
salt and
say?
pepper on there.
What does it say?
There's two different teams that everyone is on, and they're not a salt and pepper.
There's
I don't
no.
know why you would be as bold as to lie on your own
Wow.
podcast.
Okay. Well, first off, lying on this podcast is something I've never had an issue with in the past. And secondly, the next segment, I'll be sure to look that up because I'm at least I got it somewhere down in the notes. Um, okay. Well, cool. Is there what you got to give me something? What's next after Riptide? There has to be something next, right?
You know what? Well, I it's not been like officially announced. I'll give you a little sauce for the
Yes.
Popcast.
Let's go.
Uh, but like there's like I would say a 99.9% chance that we return to MomoCon, and I think a lot of people slept on it this year, but MomoCon is going to be like the event. I think a lot of people have different concerns, but I would like to combat them right here and right now. For one, people go, okay, well, MomoCon is way too expensive for me. That's cap. If you go to a Kalahari event, you are inherently going to be spending a lot of money. The rooms there are not cheap. The food there is not cheap, especially if you don't leave the resort. So, okay, do you need a car? Okay, you're going to rent a car. Good luck. Half the time they are not near a major airport. You are going to be spending more on flights. It like the pass for the event is also it's just not cheap. So I think when you look at an event like MomoCon and you go, "Oh wow, that's so expensive." It's really not. You're really spending the exact amount that you would be spending at any other Kalahari event. It's just in a different format. Like you're going to be spending less on food. You're going to be spending probably less on the flight even though it lands on a bit of a holiday weekend. Like it's still cheap. It's one of the biggest airports in the world. Don't get me started on the nerding there, but like go to MomoCon. They're ready to invest a lot into our community. And the TOs behind it and the guy above them as well is very enthusiastic about our community and our game. We're probably not going to be seeing anything resembling a low tide next year around that time at least. I can say that for sure. Uh, like we said, it's going to be the last low tide this year, right? So go to MomoCon next year. It's a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of stuff for just about everyone there. Um, and it's really worth it. I had a really, really good time this year.
I'm gonna pitch an idea, and I want you to tell me if it's plausible or if it's just fluff. And if this is a new idea no one's thought of, you could feel free to take it as your own idea that I just gave to you. MomoCon is not an event for everyone to sign up to. Instead, it's an event that you can qualify for. Like they only take 8 teams. You have to qualify through something else, and they use all those resources to bring in like those top teams and let them play against each other. And that's the true world championships that we don't get from the overlords who actually created the game. Is there a chance something like that could ever happen in the future through Splatlands?
Well, Magic and I actually discussed like ideas kind of relating to like some sort of invitational or like a circuit. So like having people like the winners of so and so event get invited to some sort of special tournament. He wanted to do that special tournament in person, but I thought like okay, financially it would make more sense if we just did it as like an online kind of major with all the LAN winners of that year. Of course, if the same team wins twice, you just take the second place, something like that. But I think as far as the lands go, I don't know if we're ready for an invitational quite like that just yet. I think we probably want to drum up a lot of our attendance and people who we know are dedicated to going there for Splatoon. That's why a lot of the time when people are like, oh, I want to go to low tide, but I'm not sure if I want to sign up as a competitor or a spectator. I will always encourage people to sign up as a competitor because it shows that you're there specifically for Splatoon, and that looks really, really good for the people above us. They go, wow, look at all these people who signed up for Splatoon. Like that's what they're here for. But spectators just kind of float in a sea of spectators. They could have been here for Smash, they could have been here for something else, and it's really hard to drum up the actual numbers and go, yeah, okay, we had this many competitors, and we had like, let's just say 150 more spectators, but we don't actually know that for sure because a spectator is a spectator in those eyes, right?
Yes, which is what I am signed up as. And yeah, it doesn't. You don't see who all the spectators are, but there are a lot of people that are just there to spectate Splatoon that won't show up in the stat. So to Dungus Master, count me as one of the people that are going. Can add +1 to the numbers because I'm not there on start.gg. Hey, thank you for coming on. I know this was something we just kind of joked about on Proving Grounds, but I was like, yeah, this would be a really good topic, and I'm glad you came on to answer a lot of those questions. My mom will be more insightful now about these kinds of things.
Well, thank you for having me. I mean, it's been a long time coming, I suppose, but yeah.
Yeah, only 243 episodes. Episode
Wow.
486 when we host the IPL World Championships in Atlanta, Georgia. Then we'll bring you back on for that. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
I'll see you. I'll see you in a couple of days. So,
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh. So soon. All right,
so
bye-bye.
soon. And that was Siren, the one of the leaders of the Splatlands server organization. Most recent event being the head TO of Low Tide City. Good stuff there. Definitely some good stuff there. A lot of times you bring somebody on and you ask them questions just because like you might know the answer to it, but you still want like that other person to have the opportunity to answer. Like all those questions I asked were like genuine questions I wanted to know. Like I'm very curious in the Splatoon land scene of things, and I know a lot of you are as well. So I'm glad we were able to bring in somebody who could give us some insightful look onto things. And I had a feeling that one was going to go a little bit long, which is why we're not doing a weekly recap. That was awesome. Good stuff. We're all a little bit smarter after listening to Siren talk. Poor Brush. now I got a question. Did Brush, because Brush specifically told me that a team came up and gave him like a goodie bag, like a health pack kind of thing to help the TOs get through the weekend. Did Brush just lie to me, or did Brush just not give those to Magic and Siren and just kept them all for himself? There's a lot of questions to be asked here. Maybe we'll bring on Brush again some other day and we'll get to the bottom of that. Riptide. Ribbity rip. A Riptide is going to be the biggest Splatoon event ever created on God's green earth. As, well, everything's finalized. I don't think groups are actually finalized. The groups have come out, but you guys get the opportunity to say, like, no, that time slot doesn't work. I don't think you can avoid playing Moonlight, but I think you can be like, actually, one of our players doesn't come in till this time. Is there any way to change things out? Those things have to get done quickly, because then once those schedules are set, they try to overlap them with Smash, because some people are signed up for both Smash and Splatoon and other stuff, and they don't want anybody to be, oh, you have to play your Splatoon pool at the same exact time you're playing your loser's bracket of Melee kind of thing. So there's like a lot of juggling going on behind the scenes that I know of over the last couple of days. Commentary blocks as well. Commentators are often also playing, and every now and then you get an opportunity where a commentator ends up playing during a set that they're supposed to be commentating. So there's a whole lot of shenanigans going on behind the scenes to get everything kind of set up for stuff like this week, which is another reason why I wanted to bring in Siren as opposed to like Kraken or Raze, because I'm sure they're having a not fun time over the course of this week. The official number of Splatoon 3 teams is 107, and all those teams are complete rosters. The answer is yes, 107. That's just at minimum over 428 people signed up to play Splatoon, not including the teams that got 5 players. I don't know if there's any. There's also a college event that has 14 teams. I don't know if there are teams that are there that are not signed up for the Splatoon 3 event, but are signed up for the college one exclusively. It seems like mostly overlap. But I would be surprised if there's like maybe a couple of college teams that are just like, we're not going to bother with the actual event. We're just here to play in the college tournament. But still, even that's kind of a really awesome and unique kind of thing going on with that. What's really curious is what's going to be going on when the tournament isn't happening. Yeah, we're going to do a deep dive into every group as they stand right now. I'm not going to talk about every single team because I don't know all of you, but I will at least say something about every single group. However, something has piqued my interest. At Low Tide City, there was a Jeopardy game that was played at the fire pit on day 0, as Toasty likes to say. That was put together by Hypercube, and I believe Six Pack Yokes is the team that Hypercube comes from. There's no way that Jeopardy tournament was authorized by the Kalahari. There's like no way, because like they had like wires and stuff hooked up and all that thing. So it's like, there's no way they actually approved that. But they're up to something. They are up to something because they posted this survey for it. And I've got like 99.9% positivity on what that is for. And if you know game shows in general, you should probably take a good guess at what that is. My question is, if it is what I think it is, how do I sign up to be on it? Because I want to win something this Riptide. I'm not playing in the event, but I want to win something. And if that is what I think it is, I would dominate that. All of you would have no shot at coming anywhere close to defeating me. So whatever Hypercube is up for, I'm definitely going to be interested in that. I would recommend, as I usually do here, eat salads when you can, because there's going to be a lot of times where you have no choice but to eat burgers and pizzas. The B-Lux burgers honestly aren't that bad. Like $15 for a burger meal that's actually a decent burger is okay. But you're going to be feeling like poo when you're playing a tournament, so eat salads when you can. Salads give you no energy. What salads are you eating? Tux? Eat. Come on now. You've never had a salad in your life if you're saying that, or you're eating the wrong kind of salads. Get a good breakfast. If you want to eat breakfast that isn't crazy expensive, there is a pancake place a little bit down the road. If you go there, you'll see nothing but Riptiders there, Splatoon and Smash players there, especially early in the morning. We'll be going there pretty much every day. Miss Popgun is a big fan of their Samoa iced coffee. It's confusing. Now, like home fries, when you say home fries to me, that's basically just like French fries that are kind of diced up into like little like bites, basically, and that's like that. But their home fries are not that. They're like potato things are like what actual home fries are. So like some of the like the Midwestern higher terminology is a little bit different from what the rest of the world uses. But that pancake place is definitely a favorite amongst anybody. There's no IHOP in Sandusky. There's also a no Thimbo IHOP in Sandusky as well. So give them -1 out of 10 for that. I had IHOP yesterday. As I always say, this is a social event. Talk to people. You are there to talk to people. If you're an introvert, guess what? I am as well. You're not gonna see me be super like, hi, I'm Popgun, super nice to meet you. No, like it's easier for me to do this talk here because none of you actually exist. I'm literally just talking into the corner of my room, and that's it. Like this is easy for me. In person, it's a little bit weird, as is everybody. Pretty much everybody going to Riptide is an introvert in some way. It's okay. You can approach people, say hi, tell people what your name is. Hi, my name is Popgun. I know you because you are blah, 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 and you play for so. It's nice to meet you. That's how you introduce yourself. Spit your name out of your mouth. If you just come up to someone and say, hi, I'm so excited to meet you, I'd be like, who are you? Okay, the quicker you can say your name, the better. Better yet, when you get the, I don't have a badge in here, but when you get your badge, just take a black marker and just write your name on the badge. That's great. That's an easy thing to do. If you don't have to like buy the printed version of it. And if you have special characters, you're gonna get like alien higher. Your name's not gonna actually work out the way you think it is going to. But if you have like just write your name on the badge. That's a great way to just kind of identify yourself to the world, and it makes conversations a lot easier. People don't bite, and if they do, well, screw them, you know? But a good icebreaker is those posters. Those posters, and I should have asked Siren where that tradition started. Because that's something that Aaron always talks about, how like the Splatoon community has those posters, and that's something like you don't really see on the Smash side of things. So buy a poster and have people sign it. That's usually a good little icebreaker. Just to like, if you're kind of nervous about approaching people, nobody is going to say no to signing a poster. That's cringe. But I will say this: there have been times when people have come up to me and I'd be like, "Come back later. Like I'm playing a set right now. I'm not going to sign your poster right this second." But like, that's a good way to introduce yourselves to someone. Hey, I'm Popgun. Will you sign my poster? I think your Popcast is awesome. Where can I subscribe to your Patreon? I don't have one, but I appreciate it anyways. For those of y'all that are not going to Riptide, you're going to be stuck at home watching it. Don't worry. there is, you might experience some fear of missing out, but you are still going to get to experience the event. You're not going to miss anything. All the cool stuff is going to be videotaped, and I wish we did more of this as a community. And it's something that we've been starting to do. Where's my phone? But what you're going to see a lot of is people taking out their phones and videotaping sets. And whenever there's like a major upset or something off stream, which a lot of matches are going to be played that you're not even going to see on stream because they're all on the gazillions of stations offsides, you're going to see a lot of those pop offs and a lot of people circled around certain kind of scenarios where there's like a 2-2 event going into a game 5 completely offside. Like, everybody should have their phone out to kind of capture these moments and tell the story to the people who aren't there what a Splatoon LAN really is about. Because when you just see the stuff that's on stream, you get a small slice of what a LAN life is really like. But the more people that can kind of like videotape these the cool moments that are going on, that helps kind of spread that. I think that plays a big role in growing the community as well, because people have an idea of what the Splatoon community is because they just see bull crap on Twitter nonstop, but it's a different thing to actually see it in person, which there is a lot of cool stuff going on right there. So if you're not going, don't worry. We're going to make sure everybody gets a good sense of what's actually going on here. Before we look into the groups, as I said, there is a college tournament. There's 14 teams signed up in it. I will predict this right now. The Big Fat Sea Cows are going to dominate that tournament. I did sweep over the... I guess I can start pulling this up here. Should I do a sand volleyball preview? I wish I'd signed up for that. I can't... I got to take off this one. Okay, so let's go to the screen share. Chat is gone for YouTube. Sorry. Or maybe I'm saving YouTube from the idiots in chat, so be it. These are the 14 teams signed up for this. I did just do a search because I was like, is Basil like just on one of these Purdue teams that's just gonna like curb stomp it or something like that? I don't see any monsters that are in the weeds here or anything. So I think the VCU Big Fat Sea Cows is going to win this college event. And you can take that to the bank right now. But let's look at the actual event. I'm going to need a second because I got to look at all these groups. You know what the cool thing about LANs are? Start.gg is great for TOs. It is horrible for participants. But you as the participant don't have to actually mess with Start.gg. The TOs only get to at LANs. It's like the perfect for LANs and aggravating for every other human being outside of that. Okay, so here we go with the pools. And is there an easy way for me to switch? Yes, there is. Okay, we're set up. Let's roll. F11 on to the next one. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different groups. And traditionally, a group at a Splatoon LAN is like 3-4 teams in it. Your group stage is done in an hour and a half. There are groups here that have 8 teams in it. And I don't know if this was like a sick joke by the TOs or if this is like going to change or what. But 8 freaking teams in a group? That is 7 matches you have to play in a group stage. Think about it like this. 6 rounds of Low-Ink Swiss takes 3.5 hours. 7 rounds of group stage at LAN. Oh my gosh. You guys are not going to make it. You guys thought I was joking about the salad thing. You guys thought I was joking about... It's 3 rounds of Swiss, so they're not actually playing. Is that what you're saying? So it's just first... So it's Swiss groups is what you're getting at. We'll get confirmation on that. That would make a whole heck of a lot more sense. But even then, that's still going to be... Actually, no, that would make perfect sense. Because if you had 8 teams and you play 3 rounds... 2-0... Yeah, you would get a 3-0 team in theory, just 3 rounds of Swiss. Everyone's saying yeah. Okay, so that makes things a whole lot more sensical here. First group, pool number 1A, or A1. Do not call this team Starburst, although you could. Do not call this team FT Win, although you could. Instead, call them a name nobody's ever going to remember: the Eternal Pursuit of Happiness. Who cares what their team name is? They could be Team Dungus Master for all I care. It's Keo, Ice, Biscuit, and Bagel. This is the number 1 overall seed. Yellow Jackets, maybe you'll go 2-0 and you'll get the grand prize of playing these guys in this one, and you'll get a nice little sweep down to redemption side of the bracket. Fair enough. The real match I'd be interested in seeing here is Thimble IHOP versus the Yellow Jackets. Now, this is I don't think this is the same exact roster 1-to-1 that the Yellow Jackets had in Ludi. It might be. Actually, no, because Allie's playing for a different team, although Dio is on there. I think General Storm was on that Yellow Jacket squad as well. Thimble IHOP, these are all actual players that played for Thimble IHOP. Like, sometimes you'll see a team sign up for these events, and it's like one player. It's like Thimble IHOP plus one, but like, no, this is Thimble IHOP alumni that's actually playing here. So I would hope these two teams get to play on stream, because it's nice seeing actual teams play onto these kinds of events. Not that there's anything wrong with pickups, but the Eternal Pursuit of Happiness is a name. Group A2. We're gonna be here a while. This is gonna go past 7 o'clock. I can already tell. All right, Cream Soda, Wave, Zenith, Thunder, and Goss. Here is my... I don't do hot takes. Like, hot take is something where you say something that's so outlandish and crazy, and you say it just so it'll get more views and more clicks and stuff like that. You see that on ESPN all the time, and it's so annoying. That's why I don't watch them anymore. This is not a hot take. I think this is something genuinely everybody would be on board with. Cream Soda is not the number 1 overall seed, and I understand why. And when it comes to seeding, you don't really seed like, oh, well, here's my philosophy with seeding is who's earned the number 1 seed versus who do I think is going to win. That back when we did seeding for Proving Grounds, you would always put the team that earned the number 1 seed at the top. But there was teams where I was like, I think this 3 seed's actually going to win this tournament. And they would, but you wouldn't give them the number 1 seed because they haven't earned it in that kind of a sense. Cream Soda, and this is where my not so hot take is, I think Cream Soda's done enough to earn the number 1 seed over Keo, Biscuit, Ice, and Bagel. And that might be a hot take because most people have it the other way around. But I see Cream Soda winning this tournament. Zenith and Goss have been a deadly combination of players with each other. They're playing in the 20X tournament. They won Super Jump together with Metro. Thunder and Wave were a part of that Crush Soda team. And if you recall, and yes, this is from a year ago, but that team that's the number 1 seed, the Keo, Biscuit, Ice, Bagel team, that is essentially the same roster. They got 3-0'd about a year ago in PAX by this same team that just had Twig in place of what Zenith is. I don't think it is out of the realm of possibility that not just Cream Soda wins this tournament, but they probably should have been seeded the number 1 team overall over the other team. Now, Keo and Biscuit had a hell of a weekend. They won the Sindao Q final. They're coming into this tournament with as much momentum behind their backs as you possibly could. But I think Cream Soda is going to win this tournament. I think they are the next generation of top level players, and they're going to show it here, kind of like the first Riptide where Starburst wrestled it away from not FT Win. I think Cream Soda is going to do the same thing here. I think that'll be the story of the tournament. As far as everybody else in this group, hey Skep, shout out to Skep there. I didn't realize Skep was coming to this one. I don't know enough about like the rest of these teams. There's a lot of teams that have players I know, and then they just got a random 4th kind of slapped on there, so it's like difficult to figure out how they're actually going to do. But shout out to this team that has to be a college because they got a little beaver Chewbacca thing right there. The Fighting Chewbacca's of of Cerulean City. Maybe they'll make Redemption. Who knows? Pool A3. Moonlight. And this is actual Moonlight, their whole core roster that's playing right here. Here's the story for Moonlight. If you look at the player or the teams that have signed up here, Moonlight is the third or fourth team. It would be great if they made podium. The thing, though, is Moonlight is much better at LANs. These players traditionally play much better at LANs than they do online. Why? Because the crowd is very much a pro Moonlight crowd. And they feed off of that energy. This is going to be a more if they can't win Low Tide City against a tough Starburst team and a tough Zenith Helix pickup Max as well that they were able to beat last time. But there's a lot more monsters to overcome this time around. But if Moonlight can feed off the energy that the crowd is going to give them, and if they manage their water consumption to where they don't have to take a pee break right after they force a bracket reset and essentially ice themselves out of that bracket reset, Moonlight still has a path to win this tournament from the crowd boost that they can get. Shoutouts to the this is the food group, actually. You got the Black Squid Ink Burgers looking to bounce back from a low ink they would like to forget. I don't think they're a college team, but they are an actual legit team, so it's good to see them here. Shoutouts to Kit Kat as well, who got me a Kit Kat bar last time there was, or somebody gave me a Kit Kat bar at Low Tide City. Shoutouts to them. Also, student drivers. I have no idea how good this team's going to do because that is Fern, and Fern DM'd me already asking for tips on this group, how they're going to do against the teams that are in this one. My tip to you and anybody that is looking to improve in this group, go to your station, scout out where the liars are connected, and hit the table in a certain way to cause your opponent to DC and make it seem like an accident to where it was their fault and it didn't happen to you. That would be my best advice to get wins here. Kraken and Rays don't watch the Popcast, so you're fine. We'll get in the way of that strat. B1. Now, I have no idea. I'm assuming the Swiss has something to do with all the B's and the different letters and all that stuff, but who knows? So Beans is the team that we're looking at here. Fusion, Eevee, Bishop, and Archer. This is going to be a solid team. The top 32 is what they're projected. Top 32 is what they are going to get. They're going to skip the redemption round. This You Will Be Terminated team can give them a little bit of frustration if they were to go 2-2 into that set. Rainfall's an actual team. Lost Inklings and the Whip Rays are two actual teams that are doing the fusion dance right here. Shoutouts to Sofa King. Shoutouts to Hammy. We'll see how those two teams play. They're scheduled to make redemption right now. I think they find a way to hold on to that. The Whip Rays as a team at LTC were flexing and took care of business last time. Rainfall's not an actual team anymore. Well, they still got the logo, so it works out. So what do you know? B2. Bingo. Stan Miku, who's got arrested for having passports from several different countries. Lux, Hope, Sire. Oh! There is an A2P team here somewhere. Or maybe I'm just tripping about that. Okay, this team's scheduled to make top 32, and so be it. Jeff is a really solid player, so is Hope, so is Lex, and obviously so is Siren. Should be a solid team going up against that. It will be interesting to see what they do against this Crustacean Crusader pickup kind of team. Roundy not playing, but Allie, Greg, and Bronze. I don't know. So PJ is going to be there. I don't know if Greg's bringing little Greg Jr. as well. It would be cool for PJ to see some other babies. But Greg, a fellow Splatoon dad, going to be actually competing in this event. My competing days are long behind me. Dylan, this team, by the way, Neptune should be doing commentary. I did commentary with them recently. They're awesome commentator. This team asked me on Twitter if their team name was cool. However, they did admit that Dylan Kiru is not on Battlefy. So if this is misinformation, this team name sucks, and I have no problem saying that. Ink Floyd's an actual team, by the way, or at least that name is. They play in low ink all the time. Group C1. So Lost is the one player that sticks out to me on this Pasteri team that's going to be scheduled to make top 32. I don't know how this team does against a frog with a big dumpy, though. I think this might be the first instance where we might see a team leap over the other and force another one who's scheduled to make top 32 into redemption. Shy, Lily, Rizza, and Splatfur. And if the one name that jumps out to you is the one you don't recognize, which is Splatfur, let me remind you, that is the player who won Momocon, is a Destiny cadet and is a really strong, I believe they're using Sword now, is that the name that is the weapon that they're using. But this is a solid roster right here. Only one of you can use Junior, though. The rest of this one, Driving Without Incident, a much better name than Driving with Influence. Infinitely better name. Nicely done there. We don't want any incidents here when driving. Certainly not. C2. Now, this contains potentially the one Bane match that I want to see on stream whenever the group stage is playing. I want to see Orca Balestra versus Triggerfish Zone Supremacy. These are two actual teams, and getting them to play each other on stream would be great because these are two teams that are right with each other. I believe they do have a bit of a history, not like negative history, but like we have like they've played actual sets against each other. So there'd be like something to look forward to and some bragging rights that are on the line. Kraken is not playing with Triggerfish. Kraken's running the tournament. You could still play Kraken. I mean, it's the biggest event ever. It runs itself at this point. Come on, Raze has got all of this. But this isn't like they're rolling out some crummy roster. It's Pepe, who's at least threatened to make, if not won, every single tournament. Land tournament this year. Genesis won. Almost made podium at LTC. Got a bronze medal at the Big Dapple Metro Inc. This is a solid team. Smork, DRF, and Vapor. DRF made top 5 at a Riptide a couple of years ago. So this isn't like, oh, this is our JV squad. No, this is a solid Triggerfish. You should be just as scared as this team as you always are. So I hope these two play each other, and I hope it gets put on stream. Skibidi Zone, and I just said Skibidi, and I know I pronounced it correctly. A lot of you have issue with me saying that word. I don't like that it's gatekept by people at my age. I'm not old. I'm not too old to where I can't say the word Skibidi. I'm only 34. Let me say it. It's a funny word. Bash is a college team representing Purdue. Boiler up. Hydrate or die. Hydrate or dihydrate. Fair enough. Don't drink too much, though. Do not drink too much water, guys. Like, you don't want to be spending most of your time in the restroom. You can hydrate, but you don't have to, like, shovel it in. Pace yourself. Group D1. Chips. Yes, they're moving on. Chips. Chara, Max, Storm Hero, Arito, Bo, shenanigans going on with this team. They're going to be moving on to top 32. What do they do in top 32? I have no clue, but they're making it out of this group. Insomniac Central plus Zach is a really strong team. We just banned him from Low Ink, and we banned Zach from Low Ink. So I probably have to give them... I am bringing certificates. Kariki's printing them off, and I will be handing them out. But that's going to be a strong team. Hey, Purdue alums here. Mizuno, Aster, Kariki. Speaking of Kariki. Nito, you're not part of Purdue, but you're here anyways. Good to see them here. In the 6-pack yokes, for crying out loud. No, I don't want your damn booty shorts. I'm fine with just the t-shirt. I can't go to Kroger wearing 6-pack yokes booty shorts, okay? I can't wear that out in public. I can wear the t-shirt out in public because who cares? I'm not buying your booty shorts. Quit asking. Inc 295, an extension of the Team Inc 95. I don't know what that actual route is. By the way, I don't know if Kaze listens to the podcast, but Kaze is one of the founding members of Destiny Troop back in 2018. Went off to college, left the team, left kind of competitive Splatoon, but still a good friend of ours. did not tell us that he's playing in this tournament. Bro, we're gonna hang out, and you didn't even tell me you were going here. Oh, this team, I believe this is the University of Tennessee team that's playing in this one. Group D2. God, are we halfway done this one? The AFC East. Yeah, these guys are going to be moving on to top 32. They're going to skip it. Now this team is Latios would know what the AFC East is because Latios actually pays attention to the NFL. But I don't think this team's going to be enough to overcome this strong team. They might push them. They might push the AFC East. My question for this team is, which one of you is the New England Patriots? Because you are obviously the one being carried by the Bills and the Dolphins and maybe the Jets that are good this year. I don't know. The problem is this team is going to lose to take your pick of whoever you want to compare to being the Kansas City Chiefs, the team that destroyed the AFC East in the playoffs and the regular season last season. But they're going to struggle against some of the other big major monsters here. But so is like the other 105 teams here. So who really cares? Shoutouts to Krill Streak. Shoutouts to Krill Streak because they are the best, most chill team of them all. I don't think they're bringing their entire baseball team this time around. I think they're only got like about a 4. I'm not clicking on this because people dox themselves. I hate start that GG. But always excited to see Krill Streak there. Fanta in my system is a name of a team. Is that all I put down for this? I guess so. Oh, Big Fat Sea Cows are here. Oh, Big Fat Sea Cows versus the Gunch. These two teams, I guess they both would make redemption anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Maybe technically it does for seeding or something like that, but I think Big Fat Sea Cows should. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. If you haven't been paying attention to them, they're going to surprise a lot of people. This event. If you've been paying attention to them, they're not going to surprise you because you know what to expect. They're a solid team. Liar, Pants on Fire is going to find their way out of here. Swisher, Pulp, and Gray the G is the most information we can get without clicking on the team name there. I think this group goes as seeded. Here is Carnival, which they were an actual team called Carnival. Chino, Soren, Clover, and Smash. A couple of them I actually played with back in the first Lowtide City. Ohio Sigmas. There's our 2 words of the younger generation. You guys have an issue with me saying Skibidi. How come this team gets to call themselves Ohio Sigma and not even have a logo? That's messed up. Hibiscus is currently eligible for low ink. However, there's never been a time where somebody got banned during an actual event. This could be an opportunity. Hibiscus is going to put themselves in situations to where they can rack up enough wins because they're kind of already slightly borderline, maybe, but they're going to be putting themselves in a position to where we might have to hand them a certificate live in person and say, don't even bother signing up for low ink. Yes, getting LAN results do count towards being banned for low ink. It is an actual tournament. It is not a fake tournament. And in my opinion, it means more so, even though low ink is an online event, so maybe not. We're going sitcom mode. I already missed the context. Literally, NZAP84 is a non-binary plus Tiger Sharks from RIT Pickup. I think there is like a regular Tiger Shark team. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I missed them. I don't know. Fine. Fiend, Lynn, Cuber, Balloon. I believe Storm T-Tech is the 4th that is on this team. Top 5 potential coming out from this team. Maybe. Yes, no, maybe so. Should be. Lynn made a name for themselves at the last Riptide and then won Genesis. Balloon and Storm, I believe, did even better. I recall seeing them on stage as like that mix-up of Smoothie and Nightmare. Did they make podium or did they make top 5? Those players. They should be doing really good in this event. They should find their way back into the top 5. Wait, I'm the GOAT. Shoutouts to Zonink, former Destiny Troop member that's going to be playing in this one. Arvel, pronounced Avril, is going to be here as well. One of the great Charger players of all time. Remix. Shoutouts to Tory PNG. Is Tory PNG, I would assume, is having that booth again. Which, if you didn't see at Riptide City, they had a booth that was just a country mile long, and you had to wait a long time to get some cool stuff there. I'm assuming they're going to be having another booth. I'm going to check it out this time. I might actually drop some cheddar on something. Because why not? You might know when you only get another chance to get a Tory PNG swag. We'll see how Roro Remix actually does. Line marker, I hardly know her. Thank you. Thank you so much. E2. And we got 2 more groups after. There's just so many freaking teams right here. I want to see these 2 teams play. At Kaiza, a fan club team that doesn't have the team player they're actually a fan club of that's playing for them. This team versus Pinpoint. This is one I actually want to see on stream as well. I feel like this is seated correctly, but I still feel like there's some upset potential around here. Bang Boo. This is like the, well, no, I was going to say this is an Ink Sync pickup, but this is all kind of conglomerate of players right here. Carrot, Lock, K. I don't know Yump specifically where they're from, but Lock's a really solid Charger player if they're still using Charger. K, probably the best Dapple player on planet Earth as far as competitive is concerned. Ain't nobody better because nobody else is using it, but still, K's really solid with Dapples. That's not a surprise right here. There is a team called Remix. Now, these are 2 actual teams. There has been a team called Remix that plays in Rolink and Remix. Can we please rig whatever if they both end up in silver pools? Can we please rig that to where they're in the same group and they play each other and you put it on stream just to hear the commentators say Remix versus Remix? Just screw whoever is commentating that one. Let's make that happen. How do we make that mess? Also, the 10 missiles in the queue or whatever is the thing. 4 people. Fair enough. F1 and then one more group after this. Hello Dubai. Helix, Grape, Dylan, Mars, and Sam. Does this team make podium? Does this team push Moonlight for 3rd place? Probably. Helix would like another shot at them, I would assume. Helix kept them. Helix lost to them in losers finals with a different set of players, but this is going to be a team that's going to be pushing for that top 3 spot. I don't see anybody in this group unseating them out of that, so it should be an easy Swiss round for them. And I don't think... Yeah, so here's the RIT Tiger Prawns team. Is this the pickup you're talking about, or is this a completely different pickup? Okay, Keon, when you just say no with highlight, I don't even know what you're saying no to. Are you saying no to Remix and Rubber Remix playing each other? Fair enough. Okay, so there are 2 different Tiger Prawn teams, or there's like a pickup mix of like what's left over of that team or something like that. But there's one right there. 3 shooters and a big heart. I'm assuming is what the last one is right there. Imad Sath and Death D. Team Friendship. Hey, is this the same Team Friendship that was playing in Low Ink? If so, I think they might find a way to sneak into this redemption round somewhere. If not, then no, they can't. But if it's the same Low Ink team, they might find their way in the redemption there. F2. Crim's rotation battle. Now, I made a huge mistake last time when I talked about Riptide City. The Cherry Limeade pickup, I didn't think was going to do that good, and they got 4th place. They got 4th place, didn't they? So, and it was crazy because Mud Cup even admitted to me he hasn't been playing at all, and was still able to beat up all these other players that have been playing the game actively. So Crim, I believe, said this is their last chance, or the last time they are playing it in an event, and then they're stepping away from things. So Crim's not going to go out like some chump. I'll say it on the record. This team makes top 5. They finish at least 5th place, if not better. So there you go. And now that I said that, they're going to get knocked out in redemption or something like that. But I honestly don't really see anybody doing much. I mean, this is just such a solid roster, and Mud Cup is not washed at all. It's just as good as anybody that's has been playing the game for the past couple of years intensely. I do have beef with this team. If this is MTSU, if that stands for Middle Tennessee State University, I will have you know I am a Western Kentucky University alum, and I am mad that Western Kentucky does not have a Splatoon team. But even if they did, they would beat your sorry asses because there's no way the Blue Raiders would ever beat a Western team in Splatoon. Congrats to you guys for forming a roster. And if this is Middle Tennessee State, come talk to me. Come talk to me. We got some regional beef between those two schools. I can't let that slide. Also, shout out to Rise and Shine, an actual team playing in this one as well. Oh, Sir Skit, former Destiny troop member as well. Playing with Pock and Tiger and Secant. The Zoo Pals. The Zoo Pals playing in this one. All right, that is a lot. That is so much. And that's just the group stage. That's just like, what, Friday? There's redemption bracket that needs to be played. Silver pools. I think I saw bronze pools, which I don't know the format, how this all works out, how you go from like bronze to silver, like how you automatically get silver or something. I think, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. I've done enough line on this today. I'm done talking. Look, I will see you guys this weekend. Or you will see me this weekend if you're not actually going and you want to watch the stream. I'll be on there at some point, I'm sure. Happy travels. Make sure you look over Falco's packing list and make sure you get all the packing stuff that you need. And bring a smile. People like smiles. And have a good time and take pictures. And enjoy life. We're all going to die at some point in theory. It's never happened to me before, but I'm assuming it will at some point. So just enjoy life. This is a weekend to enjoy life with a stupid game that the rest of us enjoy all together. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out. My socials below. Twitter at Mr_Popgun. YouTube at 25Popgun. Twitch at Popgun25. Anchor.fm/Popgun. Blue Sky at just straight up Popgun. You can go to that as well. Who is streaming Splatoon 3 that I actually know? Oh, let's go to Chase. That works. Not that I know Chase personally, but I know I at least am aware of who they are versus the other people. I'll see you this weekend. Get vaccinated, stay safe, wear a mask. COVID things are on the rise if you feel like it. And make sure you bring the correct headphones too. Those are always important.